Great. Thanks, Brad. So now I'm going to provide a little bit of a deeper insight into extract raw and some of its important properties. And then I'm going to provide our main contribution in the paper, an algorithm that we call extract right child, which should sound a little familiar from the title. So first off, extract raw's runtime. Extract raw is lower bounded by n squared log n. We know this because it's at least as hard as computing the homology of kind of these recursive smaller subcomplexes that keep getting fed into it. And we know that computing the homology of something has the same lower bound as matrix multiplication, which is omega of n squared log n. Furthermore, extract raw has a few other really important properties. So first of all, it is consistent with the data, the function values on all the vertices. If we kind of carry for every simplex, kind of carry with it the function value of its largest valued component vertex, we produce a gradient vector field consistent with that reflects that. And then also importantly, if we actually look at this on the Hasse diagram, we have every single matching as an output of extract raw is according to these lexicographical orderings on the Hasse diagram between sort of the smallest valued parent nodes and then their largest valued lexicographically valued child nodes. So maybe to help visualize this, if our simplicial complex is just this little cycle here, and here's its corresponding Hasse diagram, every single match that extract raw is going to produce is going to be between sort of the smallest possible lexicographically valued parent node and then its largest lexicographically valued child node. So if we were thinking of this as being ordered from left to right, our smallest leftmost parent is always going to be paired with its largest rightmost possible child. And every single arrow in this gradient vector field is going to have actually this property. So knowing this, we can just go in and design an algorithm that exploits this property instead of using all of these expensive lower link calls. So the first thing we can do then is do something that we call Hasse decoration, which is just going in and storing kind of the function value of the largest component vertex for every simplex. So that function value that's always going to be kind of carried up with any higher degree simplex. And then any simplex's rightmost child and also its leftmost parent. And then we're just going to conduct matchings the exact way that they're done in extract raw. So the smallest leftmost lexicographically valued parent is going to be the head of an arrow in the gradient vector field, and its largest rightmost child is going to be the tail of an arrow. And then all of our leftovers are just going to be called critical. So for an example here, this is our simplicial complex on the left, this cat-shaped thing. And then on the right, we have our Hasse diagram. All of our matchings are going to occur sort of after we've enumerated all of this, every node with this important data. We're just going to go through from the highest dimension down and say, okay, what's the rightmost child of everything? So 3, 4, 6, what's its rightmost child? It's 4, 6. And then also, what's the leftmost parent of 4, 6? Well, it's 3, 4, 6. What's its smallest lexicographically valued thing based off of F naught? And so then we have a matching, and we know that 4, 6 is going to be the tail of an arrow in the gradient vector field, and 3, 4, 6 is going to be the head. And sort of equivalently, what's going on the simplicial complex? Well, we're just going to have an arrow from 4, 6 going into 3, 4, 6, into that 2 simplex there. And then moving along, 2, 5, 7, we're going to be matched there with 5, 7, and we're going to add an arrow on the simplicial complex here. Then we're going to go down a dimension, so 3, 4 is going to be paired with its rightmost child 4, 1, 5 is going to be paired with its rightmost child 5, and then we're going to hit 2, 5, which is sort of our first danger zone area. So 2, 5 is going to try to be paired with 5, its rightmost child, but we're going to check, is 2, 5 the leftmost parent of 5? It's not. It's not the smallest lexicographically valued parent of 5 in the Hasse diagram. So we have to call it critical. Then 1, 6 is going to be matched with 6, where 6 is a tail and 1, 6 is a head of an arrow. 3, 6 we have to call critical because it's not the leftmost parent of 6. 4, 6 has already been called a tail, so we can skip it. 2, 7 is going to be the head of an arrow, and it's going to be matched with 7. 4, 7 we have to call critical because it's not the leftmost parent of 7 here. And then 5, 7 is also going to be a tail. And then last but not least, once we get to the vertices, everything that kind of hasn't been claimed yet as a tail, we just call critical. So 1, 2, and 3 are all going to be called critical in this case. And then for an idea of the runtime, this Hasse decoration step occurs in big O of dn time. using O of n space, where d is the dimension of the Hasse diagram and O is the total and n is the total number of simplices in the Hasse diagram, every node. And then all of the matches are just going to occur in constant time operations since we've stored all of that data kind of initially. So it's going to run in big O of dn time with O n space. And you'll recall from before that this is going to be a nice time complexity improvement on extract raw, which we show is lower bounded by omega of n squared log n. So in conclusion, if we're given sort of this pre-existing point data on a simplicial complex, and we want some function also on that that's consistent with that data that's reflective also of its topology, we're not going to be able to get something exact necessarily. Computing a perfect gradient vector field is an NP hard problem, but there are ways to come close. And remember, we can do this sort of using a gradient vector field. This is an equivalent definition to a discrete Morse function, and it's also an equivalent thing to look at everything through the Hasse diagram. And so if we do look at things through the Hasse diagram, sort of these previous important algorithms have an underlying property that they're using based off of lexicographical orderings. And exploiting this property gives us some really nice time complexity improvements. So this is our main result. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed our contribution.